Yo guys, what's up? I'm here with a video. So I was on vacation, but I'm back and I made a insane build. I'm not even joking when I say this is probably one of the best Titan builds in the game right now. It's not the prismatic one with thunderclap with the freaking whatchamacallits, the point contact. It's not some solar with the chest piece. It's not. This build is seriously one of the best builds in the game, and I have not seen a single video about it. And I'm here to show you guys what makes it so strong. Before I get started, I'm going to show some clips so that you can kind of see what it's capable of, but then I'm going to go into what it actually does and how to put it together. Oh, it's so cinematic. So as you can see, this build is no slouch in the damage department, guys. Not many builds can be doing what you're seeing on screen. It also has insane DPS. I might put a clip of me testing it and seeing the actual DPS in like a rotation on Carl. But it's crazy. This build, like I said, is insane. And just to kind of start things off, I'm going to go into the artifact because that's where a lot of the synergy actually comes from and what makes it so freaking good. So we're using the Slayer Baron Apothecary Satchel. The reason we're using this is it has a ton of stasis synergy, and a lot of these things, if you've played previous seasons, are going to be familiar to you. And a lot of these things are what were present during the time when this build used to be good, because this build in a somewhat similar way was a thing before, and it was with these artifact perks. But now there's even more on top of it that makes it even better, and I'll get into that. But first, the artifact. So we have Wind Chill here. So rapid stasis weapon hits grant you a stack of frost armor, and when you hit slowed or frozen targets, they also create a stasis shard. We're using the Alethanim grenade launcher, which I'll get into. Um, and this makes it so that you basically have infinite frost armor. Every two hits of the Alethanim gives you frost armor. And if you don't know how Alethanim works, if you shoot a major or like a powerful enemy or a boss enemy, it will stick in them like Wither Horde and hit over and over again. So infinite frost armor. Next up, we have Crystalline Converter. Basically, you activate your class ability. Your next stasis weapon final blow creates a stasis shard. We don't care about that, but what we do care about is gathering stasis shards, and as you'll see, we make a poop ton of those. Gathering those gives us stacks of this buff. This buff will cause our next powered stasis melee hit to create stasis crystals equal to the number of the stacks that we had. So even more crystals, which is a big part of our damage. We have Hail the Storm, so when we shatter those crystals or frozen enemies, it does more damage. And when we do the crystal shattering, it also releases these shards that do damage and slow things. Then we have Curative Orbs. So the first time you break a target's shield, they or a guardian using their super, they drop an orb. This part doesn't matter. What does matter is collecting an elemental pickup or an orb gives you health. This build is the best build in the entire game, no joke, at making elemental pickups with the stasis shards. So much healing, it's like almost impossible to die. We have Weakened Clear. Now we start to get into like stupid. Okay, like stupid. So the rest of this was stupid, but this is like brain dead. Okay, so when we use our grenade launcher to damage something, or damage a boss, a champion, or break a shield, it will weaken that enemy. We're using Alethanim. It uses primary ammo, but it procs this, so you can shoot a boss and it will stick in them and weaken them for like over 10 seconds long with one shot. Really, really good. Makes us do way more damage with our combo, and we already wanted to use that gun anyway. Then we have kinetic impacts. This makes it so that sustained damage with the grenade launchers increases the reload speed of them and triggers a kinetic shockwave. It's basically like kinetic tremors for one tick. And this can stun unstops. This is really good because this kinetic shockwave can break stasis crystals, and we're spawning our stasis crystals on the enemies that we're shooting. So instant like blowing them up, and it's just more damage. Alethanim does these kinetic shockwaves really good. And then we have brain freeze. This can be other things, like this for example, but we have so much frost armor anyway. What this does is when we freeze things, they make basically a dusk field grenade that slows enemies within that field. Now with the artifact out of the way, the main synergy on top of that is, like I said, Alethanim and Blast Wave Striders. A lot of you guys probably have never used these things, but it's one of the best exotics in the game, and it's Sleeper. It is so busted how much damage this actually lets you do, and it got a rework recently. Basically, the way these used to work is when you would proc it, it would spawn stasis crystals, but now it just spawns this shrapnel, and the shrapnel has way better targeting and will more consistently actually do damage. So it's like doing way more than before. And they made it so that when you're trying to charge this thing up, it charges way faster, and it takes no time at all to be able to actually utilize the main effect, which is when it's charged, you land a Shiver Strike melee attack or deal explosive self damage, like if you shoot the Alethanim to rocket jump to spawn this shrapnel. The wave that comes out will freeze combatants, slow guardians, and charge jumps give frost armor, and it also makes you more resistant to your own explosives. Basically, we use this with Howl of the Storm, so we slide melee, and the melee that comes out of this, the crystals that come out of this, proc, because it counts as a Shiver Strike melee, those shrapnel, which then blows up the crystals that spawn from this, and it does the boatloads of damage that you're seeing. Absolutely ridiculous. You get 2 melee charges from this as well, and as I'll show probably more in the video, you have infinite melees with this aspect, as well as the second one, which is picking up stasis shards grants stacks of frost armor and taking damage while you have frost armor generates melee energy. While you have frost armor, defeating combatants with stasis or kinetic weapons may cause them to shatter, damaging other nearby enemies. The shatter chance increases with more frost armor stacks. So basically, the point of this build is we use our Alethanim on most things, and we try to build up these like stacks. So just to talk about how this weapon works, we can stick anything that's not like a minor add, right? Like any like powerful combatants or bosses, and they'll kind of have these like discs that fly out towards you and track towards you, and these will give you stacks towards charging your boots ability, and it will also charge the weapon to allow you to spawn heavy and eventually, special, and then eventually heavy once you get enough. So there'll be like one bar and then a second bar. When the second bar is full, you can spawn heavy. With this, you hold your reload button, and this weapon actually does pretty good damage on its own as well, especially with the weakening and the kinetic impacts. But that's what we're using it for mainly, is this synergy right here. It's really good. So now let's get into more about the subclass and the fragments. So in terms of fragments, our first one is Whisper of Fissures. This is a no-brainer. Almost all of our damage is coming from these crystals, and this makes the damage and the size of those crystals exploding better. So it's a bigger explosion and a more damaging explosion. It also works when we defeat a frozen target. That gets buffed as well. Then we're using Whisper of Impetus. So this seems a little bit weird, but trust me, it makes a lot of sense. So when we damage targets with our stasis melee, it reloads our weapons and grants us a boost to weapon ready speed. We mainly care about the reload. So when we're doing like damage, right, to like a boss or something, let's say we're in a raid or a dungeon, we're going to be using a lot of weapons that have like reloading perks. Alethanim doesn't have that. You don't want to waste time reloading. So instead, you can just do your slide melee and reload your guns that way. It's really good. It means you don't need to like wait around reloading. Excuse me. And you're using your melee as a part of your damage rotation anyway, as you'll see, because you're spawning so many crystals that you're spamming your melees like all over the place. The other option could be this Whisper of Hunger to get more energy from those stasis shards to your melee, but it's not. You do not need this at all. I literally run around with 2 melee charges 24/7. You don't need it. Them, and also you don't want to lose melee stat because that's a lot of damage. Next up, we have Whisper of Shards. So when we shatter our crystals, we get more grenade recharge rate. This is on like every stasis build because it's really good. And then we have Whisper of Conduction so that all the stasis shards that we're making actually come to us. We don't have to run around and pick them up. And then obviously we're using Glacier Grenade and whatever jump you like. Now let's get into the armor. So we already talked about Blastwave Striders, but on top of that, I am using the 7th Seraph set. What this does is Final Blows. I'm just going to read what's important. So Final Blows with area of effect damage, that being our Alethonim, will grant stacks of Warmind Charge, and these Warmind Charge stacks increase our weapon stat and our grenade stat, both actually pretty good. It means that we can be over 100 weapon stat, even though, we're not there. And it also means we're just going to get more grenade stat. And then another part of it is, while you have Warmind Charges, defeating powerful combatants or destroying a construct will create a solar detonation that damages combatants and heals allies. Stasis crystals are constructs. We spawn a poop ton of stasis crystals, so we're spawning a poop ton of these explosions. They go all over the place. They do pretty good damage from what I've seen, and I'm not sure about the healing, but the damage is pretty good. And even if it wasn't for that, just a 2 set of this is also just really good because weapon and grenade stat is great. Now for the mods, we have double hands on so that we can get super energy from our melee kills. We have powerful friends just because it's a no-brainer. It's 1 slot. This could also be like an ammo mod or something, or even honestly harmonic siphon. You know what? I'm actually gonna put that on harmonic siphon. Screw it. I'm gonna change my build right now. It's probably better, honestly. Then in here we have heavy-handed. We're doing a lot of melee kills, so we're gonna spawn orbs with that. Melee damage will reduce our grenades cooldown. This is proccing a lot from all the crystals and stuff. And then we have melee font. 1 melee font is 30 melee stat, so I'm at 200 melee stat, which is, I think, 30% PvE damage, which is really good. On the chest piece, we have harmonic resist for stasis damage, but these can honestly be whatever you want. I'll probably change it to solar for what I'm about to be doing. And then we have harmonic ammo, so we can just be generating more ammo with our Alethonim shots and kills. On the boots, we have elemental charge, so that we can get armor charge from all of the, what are they called? Stasis shards that we're going to be picking up. We spawn a poop ton of these, so all you need is 1, and you have infinite armor charge. It's great. Then we have stasis weapon surge, so another surge. So we have the font for the melee, and then we have this surge. And that's what we're using our armor charge for. This is going to give our Alethonim and our chill inhibitor more damage, because this is what I'm using for damage. I recommend using grenade launchers because we are using weak and clear kinetic impacts. Double special is obviously, well, it's not even double special. This is a primary, so using a special is really good. I just was using this for barrier. So yeah, chill inhibitor because it's stasis. I think this weapon's insane with this setup. The Bray Legacy Origin trait also means you can be spamming even more abilities during damage. And then we have Invigoration. You do not need this. Make it Innervation. I don't know why I had it that. I'm actually going to change that right now because you have infinite melees. Then on the mark, we have Bomber. 2 of those so that we can reduce our grenades cooldown when we use our class ability. This is like the only use for the class ability we actually have because other than that and the reload buff, it's not doing much. And then powerful attraction, so we can just grab those orbs. It's just, nice to have. That covers the armor. Now let's get into a lost sector and blow some stuff up. All right, we are going to be doing the Veils Labyrinth Lost Sector on the Cosmodrome. This is actually a good way of farming the set that I'm using. It drops the 7th Seraph set. And right now it has Stasis Surge, so keep that in mind, but that doesn't affect the damage as much as you would think. I mean, obviously it's a big buff, but we would still be killing stuff even without that. And I'm doing it on the, what was that, Expert, I believe, difficulty. So I'm minus 30. And yeah, equipment's locked. Let's get into it, guys. I'll basically just be showing how it plays and blowing some stuff up. I'm gonna unplug my mouse actually. Okay, let's go. So there's gonna be a barrier up here. I'm gonna try to kill him without stunning him. Usually it works. Sometimes it's a little bit inconsistent with the terrain here. Alright, so my boots are already charged. We're gonna shoot him to weaken him, do our combo, and the terrain messed me up. That's okay, because he's dead from the shockwaves. You can see my melee is already almost completely charged with 2 charges again, so that's great. We want to use our Alethanim on as many of these guys as possible so we can get that Blast Wave Strider's bar full. It's already full again. You can see what I'm talking about. We have infinite abilities, well, infinite melees, and it's really easy to charge our Blast Wave Strider's ability. Trying to find these buttons. You have to be careful though. I'm about to die. Oh! You have to be careful when you're in close quarters using your Alethanim, because if you do shoot too close to yourself and hit yourself with the explosion, you will use your stack. Yeah, you can see he's dead. If I wanted to, I can do this. And he's dead. There you go. But yeah. Melee weapons are kind of just for fun. I mean, not melee, heavy weapons. They're kind of just for fun. You don't actually need to use them if you don't want to. So, most of the time I don't. But it's there just in case. There's going to be a barrier. You can see my thing is already filled again, and he's dead. And look at my melee charges, they are full. And my Blast Wave Chargers is ready to proc again. So, yeah, I think you can see why this build is overpowered. Yeah, it just kills everything. And I'm full health, even though I was just 1 HP. Yeah, that's what it does. If I was close enough to finish him, I could have finished him before he even got his barrier back. And our melee's up again, so let's just... yeah. Last wave these guys out of existence. Oh no! That's the only thing I don't like about this exotic, is it has a knockback when the ability procs. But other than that, I mean, yeah, what you're seeing is, hopefully you understand, stupid. You can also jump like that, have really good movement. He's going to get instantly stunned from my Alethanim shot. Oh yeah, another thing. So, yeah, as you can see, it just happened. So, you see the kinetic tremors, right? Basically the kinetic little shock waves. If you're standing in those when they go off, it will actually count as you receiving the blast damage from your grenade launcher, and it will proc your Blast Wave Striders. So do be careful about getting too close to things that you've shot with your Alethanim if you don't want it to actually proc, because it will proc it. Okay. I didn't know if he died, but apparently he did not. Blast Wave proc. What is he's heavy on that guy? Screw it. He's dead. Yeah, super easy build to play, super fun build to play. Absolutely love this. Okay. Stasis Titan was my favorite when these artifact perks, were in the game before. And now the build's just even better because it has even more synergies. And yeah, absolutely insane build. Give me this. Okay, I think they despawned. I can spawn some heavy. I could have done that a while ago, but might as well do it. I think these guys are still alive. Oh no, they died. Yeah, as they should. So yeah, you do have to be careful. There's definitely like a bit of a game you have to play when you're using the exotic to not launch yourself off the map and stuff like I have. But yeah, That's the price you pay. Oh my gosh, these things are so annoying. These red things. Okay, we're just waiting for this boss to spawn. We're gonna super. Make sure to weaken them before you super so you can blow them up. And there it is. That is the build. Yeah. It's not going to get nerfed. There's no bugs. There's no nothing. There's a lot of crazy bug stuff going on with, like, the threadlings and the bubble pushing bosses off the map. This is not one of those things. It's going to get fixed. So, yeah. Go crazy. See you guys.